Yeah.
I think that's what we start...
Rather than skin colour.
Yeah, I don't think it's as loaded in this country, although people probably may disagree with me, but I don't think it's as loaded as America yet.
But this is what we were saying. All the popular culture comes from America.
Yeah.
Do you know? It seeps into cultures.
Yeah.
It seeps into cultures.
I don't like it. I actually don't like
that.
I don't like it. So, you were saying you identify as, like, you aspire to identify as a human being. And
Mate,
that's
I
kind
do
of like,
fucking identify as a human being. I don't aspire to. I am a human.
well,
that's it.
Whereas I'm not there yet. Because I still, like, in my own head, where I'm like, what, this is Britain. This is Britain. We're meant to be, you don't call it, like, what's an Americanism that's kind of crept in? Like,
schedule and not schedule.
I
was fuming about that when I found out I said it the American way. I'd say schedule, my mum would be like, schedule? I'd be like, oh no, you've got me.
No, but we all know an Americanism, that's sort of a day-to-day thing, and they still make me cringe, man. And it's like, at some level, I must identify as British. Like, I'd go on holiday, right, and I'd be like, I feel so British. I'm proud to be British. So I do probably have a bit of work on myself, but I certainly don't identify as my skin colour.
Okay, I'm being a bit disingenuous then, because, obviously, when I lived in Spain, I felt super English, you know?
Yeah.
No, I've got a culture.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've got a culture, and I guess I'm aware of my skin colour.
Yeah.
Do you know, especially when I'm in the sun for more than an hour.
Yeah.
Just burn like a crisp. But I definitely don't pride myself on it.
No.
I find that very, very...
Putting pride on anything you didn't work towards it's the lowest form of, like, intelligence, I think. If you base your pride in something that is completely... but then again, I'm a hypocrite, because if England won the World Cup, I would go mental. I would be so proud, even though I'd not worked towards it. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. But yeah, being proud of your skin colour.
You're talking about skin colour.
Being proud of your skin colour is a bit mad.
Unless you're white and you've worked on your tan.
Yeah.
But you worked for it.
Yeah.
Do you know?
You've got them hours in.
Hours in the sun.
Lotioned up.
Saved up. Package holiday in Marbella. You've literally paid and earned for that tan.
Yeah.
For that skin colour.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting topic, but there we go. Like, that's identity politics summed up. That's it. No, I think it's such a big issue at the moment, but I think it's creeping in more. The left and the right wing stuff, that's the big one.
Let's talk about that briefly, shall we? Like a bit more of a normie thing to be able to listen to. The left and right.
Yeah.
Because some people I speak to who are not interested in politics, don't even know what the left and right are.
Mm.
But anyone who's semi kind of interested in politics are normally the same people who get offended at lots of different things.
Yeah, yeah.
Who are aware of popular culture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What is the left and the right?
I'll summarise the left and you can summarise the right. Should we do that? I'd say the
Really
left.
try.
I'd say the left. If I'm trying to look at it objectively and not what my opinion is of the left. The left wing generally are a little bit more... They care for the community. They wanna empower people on the lower rungs of society. They want to share the wealth a little bit more of a welfare state. Pro NHS. I'm talking England, Britain specific.
Yeah, this is
pro NHS, pro big government, pro taxing the rich, and I think a lot of it comes from a place of compassion, but I also think a lot of it comes from a place of virtue signalling. But I don't know. I mean, anything to add about the left? Socialism, isn't it? It's if you take it to its extreme, it's socialism. Yeah. It's sharing the wealth. It's being communist.
Yeah. It's being
if you take it to its extreme.
Well, I think if you take anything to an extreme, it's very dangerous.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know? The left, mate. I mean, here in England, when you think of the left, what do you think of? Like with politics, I'll just say Labour left, Conservative right.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, and I kind
Yeah.
of realised, red and blue.
Red and blue.
You noticed we're always like
Red's left. Yeah.
here's your two options.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Here's your two options: Arsenal or Chelsea.
Yeah, it's true.
Red or blue.
Yeah.
Super interesting. I'm sure there's a long conversation we can have about that. But yeah, you kind of think Labour, like you said, yeah, socialist, a bigger government. The people on the left generally. Well, you were saying like they care about people more, but I mean, do they really care about people? I think people on the left come from a good place normally.
I think there's a compassionate grain, isn't there, in there. But there's also an authoritarianism about them which just creeps me out. But
a lot more than there is on the
right.
now.
I agree.
It's kind of swapped a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about like Nazi Germany or whatever, but you think of the Nazis.
They were socialists.
We were taught they were on the right though.
They weren't, man. They were socialists.
Mad, isn't it?
They were about sharing the wealth. They were about communal businesses,
Yeah.
big government. They were pretty left wing.
Very big government.
I mean, they hated minority groups, but I don't think right wing politics has that as a prerequisite of being a right wing proponent. You know.
Well, mate, the left hate. If you go to like far enough left, we've talked about like being a straight white male.
Yeah.
How you're kind of allowed to. What was it? The word they were using on Twitter? Gammon.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Gammon. Yeah.
Because we look like. Oh no, it was to describe.
Middle-aged, straight white male, who's
straight
like
white,
fairly right-wing, maybe bald-headed,
bit fat,
pink-skinned,
yeah,
gammon.
bit
Fair
fat.
enough. Good
Well,
work.
I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, good. You know, good.
Until I was like, oh, this is a bit sinister actually. And if they were talking about a black person like that, I wouldn't be comfortable. Do you know?
Imagine, mate.
Imagine
if you just found a food stuff that's brown and just labelled black people with a certain opinion. Yeah, you're just one of them. I don't want to come up with an example because I think it's distasteful. You know. But the gammon thing, I like you, I thought it was funny, but you're right. If you linger on that thought, it's mean. It's mean-spirited for a start, and that's not compassionate, is it?
Definitely not. But it's interesting that we can kind of, maybe it's because we're privileged, you know?
Maybe
it's because we're privileged. Or, I don't know. But anyway, kind of, where was I going with that? The left wing and, them using terms like gammon and stuff like that to describe...
To marginalise certain people.
Yeah, marginalise, and it's an insult essentially.
Yeah.
Be it quite a witty one or not.
Yeah, it's an insult.
It's
That's
not
probably
nice.
funny.
You can use it in a very, very powerful, distasteful, like you said, way.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And the left do that. The left, at the moment, the popular left do that a lot more. You couldn't get away with it if there was a right-wing government anymore.
Right-wingers do have their own terms, though, don't they? Like soy boy, cuck, beta male. They kind of do.
We could do a whole podcast about like being a man. Do you know?
Yeah,
that'd be super interesting.
For sure, like a testosterone. Like what's a man's? We're not going to do this now because I think that's a podcast. But so the right wing do have their own slurs, don't they? To describe people, males. It's always males getting the brunt. It's never like.
Oh mate, come on.
It's always males getting the ag.
There must be words for females. I can't think of any, but
feminist, I suppose. There's
feminazi. That's a strong one. Feminazi.
Libtard. That's like a
libtard. Yeah.
Libtard.
I can't think of any more.
So both sides have their own.
We're playing the same stupid fucking game, aren't we? Essentially,
red versus blue. You know,
it's identity politics.
Completely.
Once you play it, I mean, that's my personal view on it. It's just a fucking stupid game to play.
What do you think of the right wing? I summed up the left. I'll try to.
Yeah.
What do you think? How would you describe the right wing as in a sort of British context?
Right. So growing up,
I
had in my head Labour left wing, working class, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know. For the working class folk.
Yeah, but they're not really, are they? For the intelligentsia.
Snobs.
Snobs.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. The whole game's a stupid game to play. But if we're going to look at it, then conservative for me used to be richer people, didn't care about the working class.
Bit of fox hunting.
bit of fox hunting,
Yeah.
bit snobby, bit old school, more traditional than the left.
Yeah.
Anti-gay marriage and
Yeah.
not. Basically, I'll say it to you like this: I grew up believing left goodies, right baddies,
Me too, bud.
and
Me too.
and I'm sure there's something in the film, industries and stuff like that.
Oh,
They've
dude.
led us to believe that as well.
Yeah, man. I think as well, our parents' generation, man, like mum's an immigrant, so maybe not her, but my dad certainly come from like a working class
He's an
background.
immigrant too, don't he?
Welsh.
You're Welsh.
Yeah, but working class background, so he was entrenched in the Thatcher era. So I think our parents went through an era of the Tories did some pretty crippling. They had some harsh policies, right? And
Thatcher, yeah.
they had some really harsh policies and destroyed like a lot of communities. So I think our parents, depending on their sort of background, came through a generation of left good, right bad.
Yeah.
But I think the balance has swung a little bit. I think they're overcompensating now to the left, and I think they're doing equal damage to society.
Well, your parents.
My mum.
It's all about your mum.
For sure, man.
No, I get what you're saying. But yeah, you're right. The pendulum swung the other way. But this is the issue, mate. If people play these games, you're always going to end up with one or the other.
Yeah.
Right wing, left wing. But they're both extreme. They're both authoritarian.
Yeah.
If I can say that fucking word. Authoritarian.
Authoritarian.
Thank you. They're both authoritarian. So essentially, the power's always going to be concentrated to a small percent of
Small
people.
percent that can control the swing. So
Exactly.
if we've got a lovely map of Africa in front of us, right? And so if we can use Africa as an example, right? Let's use Central African Republic, right? That's our example.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Europeans colonised Africa, they drew these arbitrary borders depending on which kingdom conquered what land, right?
Right.
And these borders divided tribes, and they put 2 or 3 different tribes in the same country. And what our way of governing them was we'd build up one tribe, and one tribe would really sort of we'd really build up and help, and they would be our servants to control. But eventually the other tribes will go, that's unfair, then they'll rise up in a civil war, and it's this constant up and down, this pendulum swing of tribes, 3 separate tribes in the same country fighting it out for control. And that was the way we colonised Africa, and we controlled it.
Divide and rule.
Build one people up, knock some people down, and let them come up.
Mm-hmm.
If people can't see that happening in our own country, be it not in a bloody way, but how nasty was the rhetoric around Brexit, man? It was filth. Like the stuff you'd see online, man, and the hate, and division of a country for what end? Something that was basically meaningless. In my opinion, basically meaningless whether we left Europe or not. A trading bloc.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they divide the country and they rule it, and that pendulum just lands where they want it to land on the given day or the year or decade. That's my opinion of it all.
Yeah.
But we need to find and pinpoint who are those people, who's benefiting from this constant swing.
Well, this is the thing. Yeah. Once you kind of think about it, you can't deny, like you said, that it is happening. People are divided. Now, people will say to you, well, it's human nature, isn't it? Is it human? And that's my question. Is it human nature? Is it human nature to put ourselves in these little boxes, to say, I am a straight white male from England,
Yeah.
I support Arsenal, all these things.
Yeah.
Is that human nature? And therefore, you support Chelsea, you are wrong. Oh mate, even football matches.
It's tribalism.
When people come together like that, the things, you never say stuff that they say,
You
like
never.
one-to-one with another human being.
You're going to kick your heads in and all this, like...
Well, because I support Spurs.
It's funny though, when you're there. Like, it is funny.
Mate, well this is the thing.
Do you not think though that the tribalism may be part of human nature, and that maybe we're living in an unnaturally big society where actually in reality villages with close family ties would be much more functional. Like we're putting these massive towns, these big towns. I mean, we live in well, we live in the south coast, and there's big towns around here, but
Mm.
you don't know everyone in your town. Do you know what I mean? And
Mate, people don't even know. I don't know all my neighbours on my street, and I feel embarrassed. I've been living where I live for like a year now, do you know? And I know my immediate neighbours, and I've got to know like a fair few of them, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got here and didn't even think to go around and introduce myself, and
Definitely can't do it now.
it just felt weird.
And you missed the opportunity, Bug, because we're living in a world where that is dangerous. Seeing people, make connection with people.
It is now.
They've removed it.
Yeah.
Even you sitting there thinking, "Oh, I wish I did that." When can you do that now? When will it be acceptable to knock on your neighbour's door, who may be elderly, and go, "Oh yeah, you right? I'm Pat. I live down the road. If you ever want a cup of tea, give us a shout." Well, you couldn't even do that now. That would be seen as almost scary, threatening.
So we've gone from it being a bit weird and a bit awkward, which I wasn't. I felt in my gut, mate, and I'm embarrassed to say it. I was like, "Oh, I should go and introduce myself."
Yeah.
Do you know? Because I moan about people. Because I lived in cities before.
Yeah.
Moan about people kind of not coming together. There'd be no community spirit. It's just kind of dog eat dog a bit.
Yeah.
Not so much dog eat dog like.
But you're out for yourself.
You're out for yourself,
and you don't really get.
You're not super interested unless there's a big issue, and then someone's flat's leaking, and you got to speak to people.
Yeah.
But you don't say like, "How are you doing? How's the family? Do you need anything?" None of that. So I had that kind of attitude and didn't like it. But then I've moved to a village, and I've basically lived like I was living in a big city.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different, and obviously I speak to people when they're out and
you
about.
You make an effort, don't you, to say hello to people as you walk around?
Every time.
I've seen that
today.
Do you? Yeah, dude. I do. I genuinely do. I like to greet people. I like to look people in the eye and say, "Hello, mate." It's a nice thing to do. It makes me feel part of the world. A little bit more, rather than just like just a ship adrift, in a storm, and all you see around you is chaos. Just things like, "Hello, bud, how's it going?" Speaking to your postman. All these little things build a community.
Yeah.
Tiny, minuscule connections is like a little spider web.
Do you find people actually almost are like a bit shocked sometimes when you say, "Oh, how you doing? You having a good day?"
Yeah.
What? What? They're gonna look at you like, "Yeah, I'm fine. You?" And I'm like, yeah, I'm quite good. They don't want to engage in conversation, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying the weather. It's lovely, isn't it? Something stupid like that.
Yeah.
People look surprised now.
Yeah.
I've definitely found that.
Surprised.
Oh my god, he's speaking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his gig?
What does he want?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever tried
skeptical of other people?
Have you ever tried, mate? Say you've parked up the road, right, and you bought a 4-hour parking ticket, and you've still got 2 hours left.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to give that to someone? Half the time they look at you like, "What's
the catch?"
It's like, "Here's 2 hours free parking. Do you want it?" And they're like, and they'll have a moment of like, they'll always say yes eventually, but they'll have a moment of hesitation and fear of like, "Whoa, who's this cat? What's his crack?" Do you know what I mean? But maybe that's because we're young males. If it was a girl doing it, it might be a different scenario.
Big shoulders, aren't they? Big shoulders.
Big hefty, big old hefty youths.
You obviously can't see because it's just an audio podcast, but we're absolute animals.
Intimidating.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
These lats, mate, they're like wings.
2 cobra heads sitting at this table. Yeah, man. But yeah, we've got to a weird place, man. We've got to a weird place. Fear is the order of the day.
Oh yes.
And what's the opposite of fear, Pat?
The opposite of fear, in my opinion,
is
love.
It is love. It is 100% love.
That's the conclusion I came to. And I've been talking to a few people about it, and I remember speaking to my dad about it. When I kind of had the realisation, I was like, the opposite of fear is love.
Yeah.
He was just like, "Can I just not, can I just eat my sandwich?" So, shut up. But he was like, no, the opposite of love is hate. And then you said this nicely the other day, you were like, hate and anger essentially, brings us back around to the start.
Yeah.
Talking about hate, or was that something we talked about?
No, that's what
before?
we talked about in this,
Was this in the podcast? Like, anger is a symptom of fear.
100%. That's the root.
That's it, isn't it?
The root.
And then what's the symptom of love then?
The symptom of love. There's so many, mate. It's like COVID-19. You throw any you say
Laughter.
Humour.
Laughter,
Humour.
yeah.
Laughter. Connection. Family. Truth.
Joy.
All these things. But we can't even tap
Peace.
into it. Peace.
Being relaxed.
Yeah. The ultimate.
Being relaxed. Proper, like, relaxed mode.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't often get it. You don't often hit that mode. Like sometimes I'll sit in my parents' house.
Not sober.
Sometimes I sit in my parents' house after a few shandies.
Yeah.
And we're sitting around, and my family's there, my wife's there, my brother's wife's there, and we're kicking back, and I'll go, wow, I'm proper happy right now.
Yeah.
And I've always been the kid that the end of the party would always upset me. The end of a good thing, if it was like, playtime's over, or it's home time now,
mate.
I always get this Sunday night feeling where I'll go, oh no, the fun's over. I never want to go to bed. I never want the fun to end. And I get that sense when I'm with when I'm surrounded by love, good friends, family.
Yeah.
I feel I never want this to end, man. And you're right, peace. Peace is like hard to find.
It is, but at least if we know what the opposite is, you know, we say peace, but let's say love is hard to find to get people into that state because they're so used to being scared. I mean, Jesus. I kind of watch the news now just to see where other people are at, you know, just to see what other people believe and stuff.
Yeah.
I watch it, mate. It's scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Even though I know they're lying. And I can fact check them on my phone and be like, that's a lie, that's a bullshit, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Is there a doctor who says the opposite of that?
Yeah.
But I watch it and my heart rate goes up. I can feel it.
You never feel good.
No.
You never turn the news off and go, whew, that's alright then.
Oh, that was a great day.
Yeah.
Great day. Shame about the bombings.
Yeah. Shame about those planes that keep disappearing.
Oh, it's hilarious, mate. They find anything. People don't think. Well, they don't think. But if they were to think, they'd sit down, watch the news. The news in the south of England. What's on the news today? We've got shooting in Texas. What the fuck has that got to do with us?
Yeah.
Not saying you shouldn't, you know, obviously
Feel compassion.
Feel compassion and feel bad. But how much shit goes on every single day?
Yeah.
Do you know? And they just handpick the ones, oh yeah, that will scare the shit out of them. We'll put that on there, do you know?
Yeah.
We've had no deaths in England today from homicide, so
what's scary, mate?
let's look in Scotland.
What's scary, mate, is even the good news is slightly loaded. You know, like a good news, a light-hearted news item. Ireland's just legalised abortion. Let's just feel good about that for a moment. And it's like, whoa, listen, this ain't no pro-life podcast, right? I'm not a lunatic. Right? I understand that there's context to things and there's many reasons why a lady may need an abortion, okay?
We'll debate it. We'll debate it in another podcast.
I'm not going to go in on it. But that is, to me, legalisation of abortion isn't all-round good news. I don't think.
Not for the babies.
Not for the babies, not for the fetuses. It's not for the old school Catholics. It's not for a lot of people.
I get your point, mate.
It's loaded. I'm saying it's loaded.
It's
There's
loaded.
an agenda to the good news. The good news is moving in one direction.
Sure.
And the good news is David Icke's been kicked off YouTube. Yay! No more conspiracy theories.
Oh, women is dangerous ideas. Dangerous ideas. How the population think is dangerous, mate. For the government.
We're back to free speech, which is nice. Which is where we should have stayed. How long have we been going?
Hour 22.
Hour 22. Okay, we can pump a bit more out. If you're still here.
People like, keep going.
Thank you. You've stuck with us. You stuck with something different for an hour and 22 minutes. David Icke being deplatformed. A lot of people celebrated that. People were going.
Did they? Yeah. Where did you see people celebrate that?
Statuses going, finally, people you've seen sense. A guy
Are you serious?
Mate, I'm deadly serious, man. There's people sharing like CNN things, like celebrating Guardian articles saying, yes, good, no more like they call people like David Icke the fearmonger. And I'm like, well, maybe what he's saying is scary, but he's not the one who's doing the mongering. You know, he's he might be alerting you to something you haven't seen, or he might be talking nonsense. But if you think it's nonsense, you shouldn't be scared.
But they're not saying they're not actually scared about that. What they're scared about is their current belief system being smashed into 1,000 pieces.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the only thing they're scared about.
Yeah.
But they don't know that. They just know that there's a feeling of fear. Oh,
Yeah.
that's scary. That's scary. You shouldn't be scaring people and saying these bad things.
Yeah.
They're scared because they've gone through their whole entire life believing what the BBC and the government have said.
Yeah.
Mate, I've had people saying, oh, the BBC are quite good, they're quite neutral. Mate, genuinely. Because...
I can't even fathom how they've come to that.
I'll tell you how they've come to that.
I'd love to even just go on their... I'm not going to do it because it'll break the conversation flow, but I'd love to go on their homepage now and just have a look at the news, like, just to be like, how's that?
Well, we know what it's going to be. It's just going to be like coronavirus, death toll count. Anyway, where was I going with that? I've lost my thought.
Do you know people that believe BBC is...
People have said to me, BBC, well, it's quite good because it's quite neutral, isn't it? It's quite the neutral one. This is their frame. This is their mind, right?
Yeah.
Daily Mail is right wing. Guardian is left wing. BBC.
Truth.
Bear in mind, all of these news organisations, we'll get into this and like bring up sources and
Basically,
stuff, are all
controlled
controlled
by the same people.
They're all controlled by the same people at the end of the day. But in their minds, and what did David Icke call this? The postage stamp consensus. Where literally you can think inside the postage stamp.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do you know?
There's your freedom.
There you go. Oh yeah, go on, be right. Go on, be right wing. Be a bit conservative. Do you know?
Oh, he's a bit left. He likes the NHS. That's he's left wing.
Yeah. Oh, identify as that. Don't question anything actually fucking important.
No.
Do you know? You'll find anything important ever happens, every news organisation will say exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Then they'll put their own little spin on it, like the Guardian will start probably saying,
slagging Boris off. And,
Boris has mishandled this, and people who don't clap for the NHS are or disrespectful, or they'll say, I've seen people on Facebook getting angry about how can you vote Conservative and clap for the NHS?
Yeah,
and I'm like, how can you fucking clap for the NHS anyway? What are you doing? Who started this clap?
I can't believe it's still going. I can't believe it's still going.
Mate,
my road was going carnage the other night.
They bring out pots and pans.
I don't know who's it benefiting. I don't think that benefits nurses and doctors.
Well, it does, because the nurses are like, oh yeah, decent, that's a good bit of music, can we do another TikTok video? Dude. I would hate to be a nurse at this time. Because you've either got to really buy into it, like really hard, and put the blinkers really on, do you know?
Yeah.
And ignore everything that's going on around you, or not going on around you, or literally think for yourself, and then shit your pants, because you're like, well, I might lose my job.
Yeah.
Do you know? Because there have been nurses who have spoken out about it, and they get silenced. I don't know if they lose their jobs.
The thing is, with being on the front line of anything, right?
The front line, they're calling this the front line.
But in a sense, right? Let's buy into that for a moment.
All right,
they're on the front line, right?
They are.
I don't think you get the clearest view from the front line. You look at the Vietnam War. These lads are out there in the front line. They didn't have a Scooby-Doo what was going on. They didn't know why they were fighting, who they were fighting, why they had to go. And the lads there had less of a clue than the college students protesting the war back in America, who weren't there, who'd never been there, and will never go there.
Yeah.
I don't think the front line gives you the objective viewpoint that you need.
Great analogy.
But obviously they've got a very valuable viewpoint because they do see what's going on in the wards, and I wished some of them would. There's a lack of information coming from them. There really is. If I met a nurse, and I know a couple of nurses who've said it's very quiet at the moment. They haven't said COVID-19's a hoax. They've said my job's pretty easy at the moment, right? But if I met a nurse who I believe to be, believed to have integrity, and they said, mate, it's absolute carnage, and we got young lads dying, we got this and that happening. I'd believe them, but I haven't seen that, mate. I've seen recycled footage from Italy used in an American.
Oh, mate, I know.
And I've seen empty wards the conga going around an empty ward and doing broomstick dances, and I'm thinking, to me, mush, that don't look like a pandemic. imagine, right, your grandma, right? Imagine your grandma, you know it's the last time you're going to see her. She's being wheeled in with a mask on by people with masks on, right?
Yeah, sure.
You know you can't go in that ward. You know the back of her head is the last time you see your poor old nan, and the doors swing open, and inside they're doing the fucking Harlem Shake. You'd kick heads in, bud. You'd kick, I would. I'd be in there strangling people. I said I wouldn't get angry on this podcast.
I was about to say, the air has just changed in the room. As soon as you were like, imagine, you see your grandma go in,
No, but
dressed
that's
as
how
Darth Vader. About last time you're going to see her.
Okay, sorry. No, I lowered my level there. I descended into
darkness.
into anger based on fear.
Well done.
So I call myself out there. I'm a hypocrite in some ways, but we all are in some ways.
Yeah.
But if that was happening on wards where people were dying, people would be upset, man. It would be a flipping frenzy, mate, of complaints. But it's not happening on wards where people are dying.
There are being complaints made.
Yeah, by people like us.
No. But about people who've been like, wow, my granddad's gone in with this tumour he's had for however many years.
Yeah.
You know, dying of that. Looked on the death certificate. COVID-19.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of that.
Fuck, you'd be fuming at COVID-19. He must recover from the tumour. Yeah. He's gone in hospital. They've sorted his tumour, but he's just got COVID-19 at the last minute.
What are the chances, eh? What are the chances? They cured the cancer, but...
This will be taken off of YouTube if we put it up, mate, because we've said COVID-19 too many times now.
You reckon?
Definitely.
There we go. Well, don't report us, you little grass.
Mate, they don't report anyone. It's algorithms that do it.
Well, no, I'm going to speak to the moderator. Listen, listen here, you little grass snitch.
Jeez.
Yeah, it might get taken off. We might have to chop a bit out. What time is that, so we know?
1 hour 30.
What a shambles.
1 hour 30 of absolute verbal diarrhea.
I don't.
But do you feel better? We said we're going to do this for our mental health.
This is massively important that people have conversations, man. Just connecting with a friend I haven't seen for 8 years.
Yeah.
Maybe since sixth form. It's just been good, man. It's been good for me, mate. It's been good for my mind. But it's also got me like a little bit more agitated in some respects, where I'll go home and I'll be processing this for the rest of the evening, you know, this sort of conversation, because you're not used to this level of conversation in the real world. You're used to going, how was your day, fucking the football, did you catch it? That's the level we're used to. We're not used to operating at a level where we probably should be all the time. This is exhausting for us. I find it invigorating but also exhausting. It takes a toll. Like, do you know, I'm just not used to this level.
Yeah, it's true. It's true when you say that people are in everyday life. You can maybe have a conversation like this for, in my own experience, maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
20 minutes. But inevitably, if someone actually listens to me for that amount of time, I'm ended up talking about paedophile rings.
Yeah.
You know?
Can't believe we've kept the pedos out of this.
No, we're disciplined with that. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll do lots of different podcasts. We'll try and stick to a certain theme, and we'll do a bit of research, you know, and just put sources, because obviously we can't go around saying, you know,
I saw this.
There's a paedophile. There are elite paedophile rings, but mate, even that's in the mainstream now. If you're like, yeah, there's elite paedophile rings in Hollywood, people are like, oh yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Well, I don't.
There's no connection. There's no connection between that and Epstein. There's no connect. They don't make the connections between Epstein and Clinton. Not Clinton, actually, not Clinton. You two.
We love you. Not the Clintons. Lovely family.
Yeah, man. But if you can't make these connections and go like, why did Bill ride his private plane to his private island 27 times? What was going on in that island? I haven't been to my best friend's house 3 times. You know?
Because you bring shit like this up, mate. That's why they won't have you, man.
You know what I mean? So it's like 27 times, and he wasn't aware this guy was a satanic paedophile. Tell you, well, that's stupid. If you're stupid if you think that. From a place of love.
No, I was about to say that. He's getting angry again.
Oh man.
From a good place.
From a good place.
You are a moron. If you cannot see the link between.
Oh God, I'm sorry, people.
No.
I'm sorry. I think if you've got to this point, you're sort of a little bit on board with us.
But you shouldn't be. You should be questioning.
For sure.
This is the thing that we're trying to work out. We're like, right, we're going to do this podcast. We're going to try and have some back and forth. And then Els is then speaking for about 10 minutes on a rampage. And I'm there trying to think of some like counter argument. But I'm like, yeah, that's spot on. Yeah, that's spot on. Oh, yeah, that's spot on.
Oh, mate.
We might have to do Flat Earth just to have a debate. Do you know?
I'll just choose a side, mate. I'll go pure, Christopher Columbus on it or something. Maybe we need a third opinion. We need like a...
We'll bring people in.
Yeah. For sure.
Specialists.
I mean, this is all going out, by the way. We're talking about how to run a podcast on the podcast. But, I mean, do you have anything more to add, mate? On air?
This has been good.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed this.
I've enjoyed it too, and I hope if you've listened, anyone, and you've enjoyed it too, and maybe learned something, maybe I don't know, changed an opinion or something. Probably not.
No.
Well, there we go, eh? There we go.
But we'll what we're going to do with this podcast, guys, we'll have a bit of a catch up and back and forth for like 10 minutes or whatever, and then we'll get into a topic, you know. Because what we should do really is, I don't know what you think about this, Elliot, just research a specific topic and then...
Yeah, and go deep dives.
Go deep, because there's stuff that, like, we don't know. This is the thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
We have no idea. No idea what's going on. All I know is I do not know anything. All I know is BBC are lying to me.
Yeah.
Because I can literally fact check them.
Yeah.
Apart from that, everything else, just opinion, you know?
100%, dude. Yeah, we'll pick a topic, deep dive it, and see if we can have some sort of friction of opinion and hash some things out, maybe get a third voice on. But there we go, mate. I mean, I'm happy with that. Are you?
Yeah, enjoyed that.
Respect. Okay, let's click it off. Bye.
Bye, guys.
See you later. Mate, I had a thought the other day.
Oh, wait, it's still going.
Fuck.
He's going to say something racist now. Right, bye, guys.